entertainment. It's the real to you, damn it. You support who's your favorite. Talking name, Jay Styles, Chris Jericho, and all the greatest. Your top 5 dead or alive, the broader stages. Like WrestleMania, all in and all out. NXT takeover, what the business about. Putting fans in the stands and the millions at home. Like The Rock versus Stone Cold.
I will not do that.
Hello and
welcome.
You are watching Disruption Network, and this is Wrestle Fandom Radio, the greatest podcast you've never heard.
Oh,
that's Stu over there, and I'm Garrett.
Nice to make your acquaintance.
How's it going, Mike?
It's going. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Took the dog for a walk. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day.
That it is.
I followed in the footsteps of the great Anthony Z. Beardless Wonder and made a Spotify playlist.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And besides that, pretty good.
Good. Well, we should definitely get up to the biggest thing that's going on in wrestling news, which happens to be the fact that they think they unfortunately found Shad Gaspard. After he, it seems like, accidentally drowned while he was swimming with his kid. It was just awful. Just super awful.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine
what
his whole family's going through. That's super terrible. Big ups to everyone in their family and Giant, sorry for your loss, but, they had a good fun run in WWE. I don't know why they weren't actually there longer. A couple, that was around the time I wasn't watching too much, but I dipped in for a few episodes. Same. And I enjoyed them whenever they were on. They had good promos and definitely decent matches. And I probably missed, maybe they're even really good matches. So who knows? But
yeah, not the easiest subject to segue into from how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. But sucks. I didn't watch it that time either. Really, like you, Garrett, I would just pop in every once in a while. But I was kind of interested in his post WWE career. Did you know he did the body movement captures for the last God of War? I think it was the last God of War. Is that or the one before
nice.
that? Yeah, and he stopped him.
He was a monster,
He also made news stopping an armed robbery at a gas station by taking the gun, I think, from the robber. Just seemed graphic novels. He was trying to get into acting. Just seems like a decent human being. And I guess that was proved when the lifeguard tried to save both him and his son at the same time, I guess. And he said, no, definitely save my son and then get me. Just make sure he's taken care of. And another wave or you got sucked down to a riptide or something. But Chris Masters, formerly of WWE as well, actually put together a crew after they called off the search, apparently. I just read this before he came on here. And we're actually searching yesterday for him as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy,
they did find his body. I guess a body around 1:30 in the morning today, and it's all but confirmed that it's him.
That's craziness.
Yeah, so definitely a sad couple of days in the entire whole wrestling computer. Just a sad day in general.
Yeah. I forgot. Somebody was it Mark Henry? I think also just nominated him for the Warrior Award.
I did not hear that, but
I think I'm almost positive because I just looked it over right before we came on. I just saw it, so I'm thinking maybe that was it. I could be wrong on who it was, but I saw that someone nominated him for the Warrior Award. So,
yeah, well, not to be a prisoner of the moment, but I don't think I could really, without doing research, maybe even without doing research, think of anyone that would be more post-mortem deserving. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But, Mark Henry's he's very, very, very active in social media too.
He really is. The
reason I bring
something happens.
I might slip something in later when we're talking about spoiler alert, we're talking about people that got released and possibly where we think they could end up. So Mike Henry might make an unexpected guest appearance in that, actually.
Right. I mean, we could get right into that because the newest release was actually Drew Gulak, right?
Yeah. Not so much. Dude, I was so confused the other morning. I wake up and I just look at my phone as I'm taking Claude outside, and I just see Drew Gulak released from WWE, and I was like, wait, what? Didn't he just have like a banger on SmackDown with Daniel Bryan? Like, what happened? And then it didn't take long. I guess he wasn't released. His contract actually expired, and WWE put out a contract for him. He wanted a pay raise, which, from what I understand, kind of is the issue with the whole Rey Mysterio contract right now, too. Same thing. But they're not giving out pay raises. So contract dispute, pay raise dispute. So WWE also pulled his contract. So he doesn't have a 90-day no compete clause. He could end up somewhere. He could be somewhere right now. I don't know. He could show up on AEW tonight. He could do whatever he wants. But people smarter that get actually paid to do this and smarter than me say it's most likely that he'll end up signing back with WWE.
Right.
So, but still, just I just watched, that was the match I specifically watched on last Friday's SmackDown. I went out and sought out to find by whatever means necessary. And then
you were telling me next, those who are wrestling, that's the one I'd be on. Absolutely want those two. So yeah, I mean, that's crazy, but
I can't think of a better thing to segue into, talking about other releases than Gulak, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because we never really got to go into a lot of the people that were released on Black Wednesday, so because that was pretty extensive. And I'm sorry, what was the percentage you told me of the entire workforce for
workforce? Okay, my bias is going to show 40%. Supposedly 40% of the overall workforce, even without doing any events or anything, if WWE didn't do anything for the rest of the year, they still would have had their most profitable year ever. So why they cut those people, which was to make projected levels of projected profits. That's what I heard, why they cut people, and probably why they don't want to give anybody a pay raise. But I also saw some math that said if they didn't do anything for the next 4 years, every year would be the most profitable that they've ever had because of the TV deals and such. I'm giving a very base analysis of that. But yeah, so I don't even know why these people got released, to be honest, especially because I think the product's suffering a little bit from a lack of star power, even though, to be honest, I don't really think we should probably have wrestling right now, but it is what it is.
Right.
That was a very long-winded way of saying 40% reportedly of their workforce, Garrett. Sorry.
It's fine. So there were definitely a lot of surprises in there. I was definitely surprised to see that the Good Brothers were let go. You think they'll end up doing another Japan run?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Machine Gun Carl Anderson, right after he got released a video on his Twitter or what have you about beginning the journey, and then at the end it basically shows Japan. So Carl Anderson, very successful in New Japan Pro Wrestling, started the Bullet Club. Like I said, not a scholar of New Japan, especially recent New Japan history, but started it. And I guess Gallows is supposedly going with him, so we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Who were some of the other bigger ones there that...
Rusev.
Well, I know
Rusev's massive.
That may be the biggest surprise of all, but again, and we've gone over it, it's he created his own spotlight, and I think that they don't like that. They like it when they create the spotlight. You know what I mean? It's like they want to give you the spotlight. You're not allowed to take it. You know, so it's like, you know, it's just crazy. And you know, should he end up on another bigger show? I would think so. It's like as soon as most people are probably going to see like the list of everyone that got released and immediately say, "Oh man, there's a lot of people who go to AEW." But like, first off, not everyone can go to AEW. It's not worth it. You can't flood. They have a pretty deep roster as it is for the one show that they have, and even though they do dark, so it's like a show and a half technically. You know what I mean? But not everyone can go there. Could I see him going there and doing very well? Absolutely. You know, if he did, in fact, create the entire whole like Rusev Day thing, and it's not trademarked by WWE, he should absolutely go there and do that and get some belts and be big, because, you know, he could have had a decent run in a lot of different things. And I think they just took his legs out from under him. So, unfortunately.
Yeah, at every turn. You won't see Rusev Day that much, I can tell you, because Rusev is like a WWE thing. He's changed he's actually spoke on that on somewhere. His Twitter handle, he changed to Miro, Miro, those wondering, which is actually like it's abbreviation of his actual name, which I'm not even going to try to remember right now. So Miro, formerly Rusev. If I had to pick anybody to go to AEW, he'd be tied at number one. It'd be him, or not even pick, but just guess, just because what you've heard in the news. Him and Ryder.
I don't think Ryder should go there right now.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
going to.
Ryder should wait it out for the indies to open back up and do an insane indie tour, because he would make insane money. He could pull in so much money from different shows and like all the different types of places he should go, and he should wait out doing it and then go in and do like a smaller, almost like a step-in thing, kind of the way the Orange Cassidy does stuff. He should come in like an Orange Cassidy style, like doing like his shows and doing his podcast tied in with AEW later on down the road, not right off the bat. Do I want to see him? Yes. Was his Intercontinental Championship one of my favorite ICW title wins? Yes. You know, like absolutely. And the fact that he only had it for a day only infuriated me even more. You know, and I don't even care that it was the Miz that took him from him. It was the fact that he took it the next day. That was, you know, that was garbage. At least he got his moment. He still got his moment, and people who care, you know, it's still a big thing to them. Anyways,
and he got to do it in a ladder match, and he got to take a picture with Scott Hall holding the Intercontinental title afterwards. Yeah. So he's a huge fanboy. That's why I love him. And far be it from me, from everything I've seen, he's like this stupid nice guy, like just a good human from what I've seen. So far be it for me to say he has a bad bone in his body, but I'd like to see him hit the indies. Like I'd like to see him hit the indies and build himself back up. He's already over. He's over in like, you know, our eyes. But I'd like to see him build himself back up on his own as kind of a nice screw you to WWE, saying, see, I got myself over by myself when I was under contract with you. You screwed me over. You made me look like crap. And now I just got myself over again by myself without you. Now I'm going to go to your competition and get treated well. I think that would just be a massive middle finger. And the negative Nancy in me, the pessimist, would love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'd be cool. You know, do a big thing. like a McIntyre thing, get released to get yourself back, up. But I mean, McIntyre had a sad WWE run when he left. Like, the Riders was like up and down. Like, only just over a year ago, he won the tag titles at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So it was, he still was getting good stuff like kind of recently, and then he gets released. I don't know. It's,
it didn't surprise me whatsoever.
No, if you were going to say people that are released, EC3 got released, right?
He did, and he's doing some. I haven't watched it yet. I've just seen like some like promo and some still stuff, and had stuff explained to me. But he's going all out character development. He's keeping busy while being released, and the current state of the affairs that the world's in right now. He's been keeping busy. Actually, I've been meaning to watch it, so.
He's another one. Obviously, he'd do well in AEW, but if I was him, I would maybe make another Impact run.
Yeah, go back to what's familiar. He'd be instantly over. You know what I mean? He'd get a welcome back chant when there's people in the audience again.
Yeah. If Gulak doesn't work out with going and back to or staying in WWE, he should absolutely go NWA. Yeah, because he's a wrestler. You know what I mean?
He's a wrestler.
Like
he's a wrestler.
He does decent promo work. With the things he says, everything he does, and all that. But I mean, he's a wrestler, and in my opinion, that's even more. Like, NWA is very that,
People have been posting, because I guess when he was pre-WWE time, he was in a group. I forget the group's name. I know all the indie marks can yell at me if they want. I'm just joking. I'm not trying to be insulting. But he was in a group. It was him, Chuck Taylor, of the Best Friends in AEW, I believe Orange Cassidy, and the Swamp Monster, who was like a guy in a swamp monster suit, and they were just a group on the indies. And so I've seen, because you can get away with shit like that on the indies, which is why the indies are great. But yeah, I've seen a couple pictures of people say bring this back, and like, but you'd have to bring Trent Seven in if he did go, like if he went to AEW, because like I said, Gulak could. We have no idea. He could show up on AEW tonight if he wanted to. I don't think they will because of, once again, current state of the planet and all of that.
Right.
But yeah, I could definitely see him in NWA. And NWA kind of needs it too, from what I understand from people that are smarter about NWA.
They could use a fresh jump, I think. Someone who was recently on a different show, they could use a fresh jump. I love that James Storm was big there.
Went to NWA. You got Stu Bennett over there doing commentary or something. I don't think he's wrestling yet. I could be wrong. But yeah, a couple of big burly lads. Drew definitely fits that mold, that NWA Southern wrestling. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
Where people don't have to see you do like cartwheel DDTs off the top rope.
Right. Speaking of cartwheel DDTs.
Yeah, I know.
Holy crap.
I did. Yeah, Jake Atlas, man. Like, when I watched his first match, I forgot who was against in this round robin tournament. And once again, I'm ignorant to Jake Atlas, too. I don't know. I'm sorry. But it was all right. It was fine. But then that match this week, which I'm sure we can get to in a little bit, where he did that cartwheel DDT. I was like, I know Garrett can see this, but I know if I videotape it and then send it to him in a text message, he'll be like, yeah, Stu is excited. He's watching wrestling.
Yeah, no, I always appreciate it when you do that. And that was definitely, I was like, I watched it 3 times when you sent it to me. I was like, it was impressive. Cartwheel on the top rope and then DDT somebody. It's impressive.
It's cool looking. I was more impressed than I should have been. Yeah, exactly. I can't do a cartwheel regardless.
Like, never. I've always been too, like, I can't do it.
Awkward.
Like,
I'll say
I'm too awkward. I can't do it. Other things I could do. Cartwheel was not one of them. I could do a backflip, but not a cartwheel.
Yeah. But sorry to get off on that tangent. But another group that they weren't a part of the mass exodus, but that is no longer with WWE, is formerly known as the Revival.
Yeah, that was another.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not shocked because of the way that they were using them on.
Oh yeah, and the idea that the comedy idea that WWE wanted to do with them was awful.
A comedy idea?
Yeah.
So I must have missed.
Oh man, that's what they pitched to them before they released them, and it was just a comedy gig. You got to go look up the outfits for yourself to believe them, really. But there might have been a Flava Flav style clock on Dawson that said Chatter Machine around the giant clock, and he might have had a ball gag in his mouth, and they might have looked like really weird, like Chip and Dale looking Christmas elves. I'm not making it up. You have to go look it up after we're done. Yeah. Like if we were in studio, I'd be like, okay, stop everything, and I'd just show you. I guess the idea was they're gonna like do that, and they would come out as that, but then they would kind of do like Big Show did when he was parodying like Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna and all those guys. Like they would kind of parody like old tag teams, I guess. One of them, I can't remember which one it was, actually laughed out loud, like in their face.
That's just a no, a big no.
Yeah.
They could go
I
anywhere.
can tell by the delay in your response.
They could definitely go anywhere. They'd probably be another good candidate for NWA because, again, pure wrestling. You know, so that'd be another. I can see them, you know, coming out, you know, destroying people, going right to the podium to talk, you know, talking smack, and you know, putting everybody, you know, on alert that they're there. I could see that for them. So they'll make it anywhere because they're a really good tag team.
Oh yeah, I definitely see them making a stop in AEW, and they have gone on to talk about their connection to them and the Young Bucks, because that's like everyone's dream match, and they banter on Twitter. That's where the hashtag FTR came from. Was F the Revival, Free the Revival, this, that, and the other. And they talk about that, but then they say that they have like a list of people they want to wrestle. So I could see them actually signing with AEW eventually, but maybe even doing it just for like by appearance. You know what I mean? And just to get that that match or matches with the Bucks out of the way, or not even out of the way, but you know, get that done, and then just continue just being freelance and like going to like ROH for a little bit, going to NWA, going over to New Japan, going to AAA, whatever. So kind of like a Zack Ryder, I could see, or I could see them doing a Zack Ryder if that is indeed what he would do. You know, hit the indies,
make
hit
a
all
stop in
ICW for the. That would be
Make a stop in ICW.
I definitely wouldn't cry over that.
Yeah.
That'd be a contrast to styles.
Be awesome.
You know, two big hosses versus some you know, classic wrestling. Be down with that.
Definitely.
Another one. This one, Lio Rush. Lio Rush, though. They released Lio Rush as well.
Yeah, which is crazy because they pushed him all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I don't want to say AEW.
What they're thinking.
I would say if I was Rush after 90 days, I'd go to Ring of Honor. You know, bypass the new hotness. Yeah. Let him get in there with some of those boys. Then after Ring of Honor, go wherever he wants. Maybe even go back to WWE. Who knows what the future holds for everything. You never say never in the world of wrestling.
Right. Definitely agree. I'd go Ring of Honor. I'd go back. He was there before, wasn't he? I think he was.
I don't. Once again, I'm going to plead my ignorance. I don't know. He could have been. He could. Or he could go to Impact.
Yeah. I mean, really, I definitely saw... I definitely saw him on some other indie stuff, but I can't really remember. But anyways. Oh well.
I just want everybody to go everywhere that they can or do whatever they can in life and be happy.
That's true. Any other big ones?
Wrap up that discussion. Off the top of my head, no. They released a lot of developmental and people that were signed to NXT that you'd only see at house shows. I'm probably leaving off somebody very important, and I apologize. I can't exactly also
written them all down, but yeah. But yeah, it's been a few weeks now, so it's not as fresh in the memory. So,
Yep.
So to get back to something we touched on before, NXT from last week seemed to be it was a pretty good show. So, what were your thoughts? You want to lead us through that card there? Or?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. The opening match and the main event kind of go hand in hand. So, right. by that being said, I mean that they include the same people pretty much. So, NXT started with a tag team title defense. Matt Riddle with Timothy Thatcher, subbing in for Peter Dunne still because he's stuck over in England because he can't travel. Took on Imperium in a title defense. Long story short is that Riddle and Thatcher, the ultimate odd couple, even more so than Riddle and Pete Dunne, are no more because Thatcher apparently cannot put up with the Bros' cheeky shenanigans quite as well as Pete Dunne can. And after accidentally getting kicked in the face, he walked out on Riddle, and then Imperium capitalized and are your new NXT tag champs. As soon as I saw that happen, I thought of you. I was like, Garrett's probably pretty happy right now.
I am. I love Pete Dunne, but obviously he's not wrestling right now, and I think Imperium can definitely use more attention.
Use the rub.
I think Imperium is a good stable. So, and I like stables.
I agree.
I like.
I know you do, bud.
So that's that.
Yep. So after all that happened, Matt Riddle's pissed off. Thatcher's just done with Riddle. Thatcher's talking backstage. They have a little altercation. A little on later in the night, you see the Bro on the phone with William Regal, thanking him for giving him that match tonight because the main event ends up being Timothy Thatcher versus Mr. Matt Riddle. And they have a pretty, if you're unfamiliar with, if anyone out there is unfamiliar with Thatcher and Riddle, they're more ground-based. I mean, Riddle's definitely way flashier than Tim Boy there. But they had a pretty solid match, depending on the style of wrestling you like. And they both put each other over. Matt definitely made Tim look good, in my eyes. And he was about to put him in an ankle lock, but then Riddle, sat on him for the 3 count. And Riddle always wins in, definitive fashion. There's never a time that he doesn't finish a match in definitive fashion. So definitely putting Thatcher over as a threat. Obviously, he's a heel now. And then afterwards, last thing you saw as NXT went off the air was, I believe Thatcher had him in an ankle lock, and Riddle was he had him in the Fujiwara armbar, which is his finisher. And Riddle was screaming for his, and Riddle was screaming for his life right as it went off the air. So they're definitely trying to put, and I'm kind of didn't expect it, but they're definitely putting Thatcher over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if they were going to do this with Pete Dunne originally, and they just pulled the trigger early with somebody that's.
Yeah, it kind of seemed that way, maybe a little bit. So, who knows? But I thought that's what was definitely going to be, like Matt would get pinned and Pete would get pissed and then just unleash on him. So, that's what I always thought was going to happen. So.
Well, now the payoff will be nice when it eventually happens, because they're going to have a blow-off match between Pete and Thatcher, right? They would have to.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
If Thatcher stayed, I wouldn't be happy if someone cost me a championship when I wasn't there to defend it. Mm-hmm. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
We also had kind of a dream match, at least for me. We had Io Shirai trying to take the NXT Women's Championship from Miss Charlotte Flair. Really didn't want to see this match because I did not want to see Io get beat by Charlotte. I know I always sound like a Charlotte hater. I apologize. I am not. But Io actually picked up the win because the story, from what I could gauge through the match, was Charlotte was just getting pissed. She was getting mad that she couldn't put Shirai away, and she ended up just getting herself DQ'd and working over Io's leg after the match, which she had been kind of targeting. And then we saw Rhea Ripley return, make the save, if you want to call it that, by beating the crap out of Charlotte. Yeah, I guess apparently we're getting Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley tonight as well. So
right,
I kind of think we're going to see Io, Rhea, and Charlotte obviously in a program together. And I think they're going to have a match at a show coming up here in June, which we'll get to in just a minute. After that, we had the aforementioned Jake Atlas cartwheel top rope DDT happened to Tony Nese, and Jake Atlas picked up a victory in that interim cruiserweight championship tournament.
Right.
And then after that, we had Shawn Michaels and Triple H come back as DX and make an announcement. Normally, I'd rather not see them on my TV because they're not they're not the current stars. They're the stars from yesteryear. But
right,
I thought the bit was really funny with Road Dogg. If you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it. But essentially, DX announced that they're bringing back everyone's favorite former pay-per-view series, In Your House. But it's going to be NXT In Your House, and it's happening on June 7th, I believe. Yeah, it'll be on the network. From what it looks like, it's still going to have the same great 90s bright neon color palette going on. With the bright pinks and yellows.
It should. So. Leave the logo. Leave it.
Yeah. And I think that's where you'll see Io versus Ripley versus Charlotte. I could, of course, be wrong, because I'm just some schmuck on the internet. But that's where I'd have it. And afterwards, no matter who won or that they had come out on top, I'd have like that three-way feud probably continue for a little while longer.
Right. Right.
Do you have a favorite In Your House, or am I putting you on the spot?
That's too much on the spot. I have to go back and look. I mean, it was so long ago, dude.
Yeah,
long ago.
Generally, the wrestling at those weren't that great, like majority of the wrestling, but I don't know. It's nostalgia. It's my nostalgia, so I'm definitely happy to see it. I would say Mind Games, but I'm a big Mankind fan, as you know. So
right.
There's that. After that announcement, we had Cameron Grimes versus Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to set this up a little bit, obviously Finn Balor got jumped a couple weeks ago, doing that classic whodunit storyline. Apparently Balor didn't like... What's that?
It's a classic.
Yep.
The
apparently, yep. Balor took something that Grimes said. He didn't like it, and so they had a match this week. If he hadn't gotten jumped a couple of weeks ago, obviously I think Finn Balor would have won this match. But they are very much really trying to push Grimes, if you haven't noticed, on NXT. Yeah. So a lot of interference and like screwy finishes this week. That is one issue I had with NXT last week. Was a lot of screwy finishes, a lot of interference because Damian Priest came out and got Finn's attention. Finn took care of him, went back to go do the match. He ends up getting hit in the knee with a nightstick by Damian Priest. And then Cameron Grimes hits the weirdest cave-in ever. Because, like, if you don't know what the cave-in is, it's basically the foot stomp, like a coup de grace, like a standing coup de grace. But, like, he caught Finn behind the shoulders, but Finn still fell on his back. It was kind of botchy, but either way, Cameron Grimes pinned a former Universal Champion. The first Universal Champion. So he definitely got he got some rub.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah,
that's a big push.
Then after that, we had another match in the Cruiserweight tournament with Jack Gallagher, Gentleman Jack, going over Isaiah Swerve Scott. Once again, Swerve had said something. Don't swear. It's not nice. It's not becoming of a young man. Anyways, Swerve said something about Tony Nese going 0-3 and being mathematically eliminated in the tournament about Tony Nese. And Nese obviously didn't like that, so he attacked Swerve before the match as he was walking down the ramp. And then Gallagher and Swerve had a match, and Gallagher came out on top, but you can attribute it to being attacked beforehand. Like I said, a lot of screwy finishes. Real quick, my girl Caden Carter got a victory, even though it was over Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Super pumped to see that. The Garganos had a vignette, another one of their lovely, whatever the hell they're eating for dinner, vignettes there. I thought I was going to hate this whole heel turn, but they're so cliche bad, like heels, that, yeah, but at first when I saw, like, the first couple of, but now he's, like, he called Dominic Dijakovic Dominic Dijakovic Doof or Goof or something. I'm just like, oh, man. But then he turns to the camera and he gets all weird looking and black and white and trippy, and I was like, all right, I think they're being this bad on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just doing the whole psycho thing at the end. I don't know. So that happened. And then we already talked about the main event, and that was NXT in a nutshell. If I had to give it a rating system, I'd give it like a 3 out of 5, just because, like I said, a lot of screwy finishes, but some pretty good matches. So
yeah, I think with the way that they're doing the interim tournament, it's definitely you're going to see a lot of those. If you want to keep up certain numbers or keep certain people winning, then, you know what I mean? Obviously, you would think certain people would go further. Oh, this guy's never going to beat this guy, but then you have someone else come, you know what I mean? So it's all the infighting for all the guys that are in it. So that are in that tournament, you're going to see a lot of definite weird finishes, but it's still cool. I mean, I like stuff like that. You know, you got however many guys there are, and they're all kind of going at each other in different angles. It's going to be really cool. And you can tell it over a long time, and it'd just be weird if there was no payoff to it. And it's like, oh, you know, all these guys scored the same amount, so now we're just going to have a 4-way match. And, you know, it's like, okay, you could have done 2 4-way matches. Then, you know what I mean? And then, you know, and whoever won those 2, then do a match, and then you're all set, or, you know what I mean? Or however you wanted to do it, however many guys started it or wanted to be in it or whatever. So.
Yeah, well, it's good that it sucks that they're doing it because Devlin's stuck over in Ireland, obviously. But it's a smart idea to do, because I never thought, like, WWE would do a round-robin tournament anymore.
Yeah.
But I guess you could squash that by saying NXT is doing it, but still under the WWE banner. whatever. But it's a good way to really stretch to, give some people something to look forward to every week. So
absolutely.
That was a good idea. Like I said, man, I can just do without the screwy finishes.
Yeah.
Did you watch Raw this week at all?
I did not watch Raw this week.
All right, you know my feelings on King Corbin.
Yeah.
Him and Drew, not a terrible match. Not bad. Not anything to write home about, but not bad. So.
Yeah. I'm just like huge on the King Corbin. I feel better about Corbin if they used him in a different light.
Yeah, if they would have just kept him as the lone wolf, I would have been happy.
Yeah, I liked him much better in NXT. I like the lone wolf thing, and they could have cut his hair and still had him be the lone wolf. Yeah, that's
okay though. Damian Priest does it better.
He does. He really does. That's a very good point. Very good point. Anything else good on Raw, or do you just want to move on to?
Well, that was my cross promotion. That was my cross promotion segue. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I got to get better at that.
That's fine. So let's get right into our top 5 for the night. So, the top 5 is going to be interpromotional matches, cross promotional matches.
Yeah, once you brought it up, that it's kind of like dream matches, I got that, but we're only using current wrestlers that are currently in promotions. These matches obviously can't happen right now with people under contract. So it's kind of like one that we've already done, but it's only current wrestlers. That's the caveat.
Me personally, I didn't even put anyone in here that's like, I didn't do any WWE versus WWE in any other show. I didn't even do that because I figured we could do that. What NXT people or NXT SmackDown, what would you put? That could be a whole other list. That could be something even more specific. Certain like what best 3-way matches would be NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. Which we could do next week.
We can do that. We'll save that for November. Because I have a feeling they're going to do that for Survivor Series again.
All right, we'll shelve that idea. But what I did was I definitely went outside. But in fact, there's only one. My number one contains people contains 2 guys from bigger promotions, and 2 through 5 are all. One guy on a bigger promotion, and then other guys in ICW. Now, I can tell you literally every person in the ICW roster that I'd want to see wrestle someone that's in any one of the bigger leagues, right? But narrowing down who I wanted to see in these 4 slots was a little rough, but I did it. So my number 5 is I have Keith Lee versus Brute Van Slyke. Because, I honestly don't think I even need to really talk about that. If you know Keith Lee from NXT, if you've seen anything that had to do with ICW, you know who Brute Van Slyke is. He big guy, strong. And just watching these 2 go at it would just be, the ring would just shake all over the place. It'd be awesome. So yeah, there's that. My number 4 is Danny Adam versus, I'm not 100% sure if he's wrestling. I know I should have looked at it, but this maybe goes into a little more of the, dream realm. But
whoever it is, they better have merch that's as fresh as Danny Adams. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know about his merch, but Danny Adam versus Amazing Red.
All right. Oh, yeah, I don't know about his merch.
Yeah, but just, I know they are, of a similar size. Danny might even be heavier than Red, but, the speed of the 2 is just, the moves you'd see. it'd be great. You got two guys throwing their whole bodies into the whole match. It'd just be great. Number 3 is Akira Tozawa versus Bobby Ocean. Because,
yeah.
I mean, again, it's another guy. Like those, are they on the smaller side? Yes. Are they both on the hard-hitting side? I mean, his name is hard-hitting Bobby Ocean. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say Bobby beat that ass. So,
but yeah, like they're both they have a slightly similar skill set. You'll see them do a move and like be still for 1 second and then explode into another move. They have that very similar style of doing that. So that's why it'd be awesome to watch those two go at it. I hope someday I in fact get to really see that. And another one I would absolutely love to see would be Sean Carr. This is my number 2, Sean Carr versus Adam Cole. Because as Lucky O would say it if he was sitting here, Sean Carr is the Shawn Michaels of New York. He is, and a lot of people compare Adam Cole to the younger Shawn Michaels. So
that is very true.
Watching those two go at it, you're gonna see a clinic. Really, is what's gonna happen. But then for my number 1, I tried to look it up. I tried to find if they wrestle each other. Not that it would matter.
I did not care about any of that, by the way.
I found I think a tag team match where they wrestled against each other. I don't know if there was a singles, but I would love to watch Kevin Owens wrestle Jay Lethal. Love it. It just, I would just be like the whole time. I'd just be happy. And if you could hear them talk to each other, it'd be probably the funniest match you've ever heard, because that's two of the best mic workers currently. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is my top 5 of interpromotional matches.
I almost want to say that I know that match has happened, but I'm not sure, so I will not say that.
Yeah, I'm sure it did, and like I said, I absolutely found a tag match between the two. But singles match, I don't know, and I'd love to see them now, especially.
Yeah. I'm the same way, man. I didn't look up any of that stuff because I didn't. Sorry. But I cheated one here. You'll see when I get here in a little bit to one. I'll actually call it out. But they've wrestled before, but they haven't wrestled as they are now yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do have a couple honorable mentions. I have 2 honorable mentions. One, I would like to see, because it was whispered about possibly a working relationship maybe happening with these guys someday, but then you hear contradicting ones. I would love to somehow see Ring of Honor versus AEW. Okay. That would be a good crossover.
Yeah. Just a whole crossover, like invasion type thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Do it up. Plus you got Marty, you got Skrull in charge of booking over in Ring of Honor now, and he's boys with the Young Bucks and Cody and all those guys. So I think it would be beneficial. And also, my other one was, like I said, these are all current wrestlers. I got to give my boy Aleister Black. I got to throw him in there. So Aleister Black versus, you remember from ECW, I used to make you watch the Masato Tanaka butchered that against Mike Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Tanaka's still going. Okay. He's in DDT in Japan. He's one of their champions at 47. Okay. So, and that dude used to hit hard. Aleister, also very realistic. That's why he's like my favorite, because I actually believe when he's hitting somebody that he's hitting them. Sometimes when he gets Feel the Black Mask, he is literally kicking their jaw off. So him versus Tanaka, I think, would be really cool. Would be fun. But to the actual list, number 5, I've got, whether you want to call them Lucha House Party or what have you, I just want to see Grant Metalik and Lince Dorado versus the Lucha Bros. Whether that's happened before, I don't know. I haven't seen it, therefore I have never seen it, and I would like to see it.
There'd be bodies everywhere.
It'd be great. I just make it a tornado tag ladder match with with my heart suspended above the ladder, and that's what they have to retrieve. I want to see it. All right.
Absolutely.
Number 4, this is my one where I cheat. I want to see Kevin Owens, blue collar, current Kevin Owens. You know, the one that started kind of when he was coming out of the crowd against Shane McMahon and doing all that, like the People's Champion style Kevin Owens versus Le Champion Chris Jericho.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, I cheated because obviously they had a match at WrestleMania, which should have been for the Universal title, but I won't get into that right now. But I'd really like to see that. Yeah. I would also, I don't know why it's cool now. Apparently it's cool to like dislike Cody and say he's a shit wrestler, which I totally don't understand. But I would love to see VP of AEW, Cody Rhodes, versus COO and Godfather of NXT, Triple H.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know if they had a match when Cody was still dashing in WWE, or anything like that. I would imagine they did not, but yeah, I'd like to see that. That'd be the ultimate AEW. That'd be the ultimate AEW versus WWE singles match that you could do.
Really, in all reality, yeah.
And keeping with actually a boy of Triple H and a boy of Cody, I would like to see, once again, could have probably happened in Japan somewhere already. I would love to see Kushida versus Kenny Omega. And people that are listening, if you want to educate the ignorant and say, hey, dumbass, that match happened at Tokyo Hall 2014 in front of however many thousands of people. If you want to tell me all that information, I'll go watch it yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kushida versus Omega.
Yeah.
And my number one, because it was the first one that came to mind. I don't know why it came to my mind. Maybe because they kind of, I don't know, they're kind of on, like, they're parallel in the fact that they both felt dejected and went on like redemption tours and then came back as something different and have won championships and been both have been tops of their company. But I want to see Drew McIntyre, aka the Scottish version of Eric Delaney. If you're not friends with me and Garrett, you don't get that. He is, dude. He is. That's probably why I like. That's probably why I like him so much. But I would love to see Drew McIntyre versus Okada from New Japan.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker versus the Claymore, baby. Come on, tell me. Yeah. And both those dudes, I don't care how, if you're anti-WWE, I don't care. You can't tell me that McIntyre doesn't go. He's great. He's great at anything he does, anything he's given. He's humble. I would just love to see those two. Have you ever watched like the Okada Kenny Omega matches? Because that's when I found out who Okada was.
Check them out now that you mention it.
Yeah, I haven't watched all of them because I know they had a series. I've been, since I'm basically, in limbo here because, once again, the current state of the world. They're on, like, I have a list of things I have to watch, wrestling-wise, and I'm just going to go watch all their matches.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that'd be a banger. Rainmaker versus Claymore.
Absolutely.
So that's my top 5.
Awesome. Go. That's a good one. I like it. I definitely like.
I like yours too because let's like tickle each other's real quick. I like yours because you went. You gave love to our boys at Immortal Championship Wrestling, which is dope. And I had no idea what you were gonna say. I was like, yeah, I could definitely see those guys going with those guys. Absolutely.
Yeah. I could anyone that is like even shows up at like every other show or every couple, like if they're even remotely a regular, I can. This is my dream match for that person. My personal one. And maybe I should have saved something like that for when we have the King himself on, and be like, if you could put this person in this against who, like who would you do? Like maybe we could do that, but still, it's all I could think of. Obviously, the first one I thought of was Owens and Lethal. But then after that, I was like, I'd love to see these guys in ICW go with these. I mean, there's, how many people could, you just, it's like, was it Brody Lee versus Ben Hameen? Just be, it'd be awesome. It'd be fantastic. It's just so many people.
Which, by the way, even though I know a lot of internet nerds are going crazy because he's facing AEW World Champion Jon Moxley at Double or Nothing, but Brody Lee getting a title shot only 2 months after being in the company. A lot of people are crying about it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it goes like, what about the ranking system? It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, what about the you just squashed jobbers. I'm like, yeah. And then he sicked his entire stable of creepy-looking dudes in masks on Jon Moxley, beat his ass down, and then said, you going to give me a title match? And Jon Moxley said, all you had to do was ask. So, yeah. I mean, people can cry about how that's throwing the ranking system out the window, which I'm glad they do have. I like the ranking system, but when it comes to storyline and who Jon Moxley's supposed to be, he's got that stone cold attitude where if you're going to mess with, I'm going to use mine. If you're going to fuck with me, I'm going to come at you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to me, it makes perfect sense.
That's what he's good at, though.
Yeah.
He's good at that.
And you're seeing two cast-offs, like doing big things in a rival company. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all right. I think that was a good one. But yeah, we'll get out of here, and you can catch us next week. Make sure to check out any other videos you happen to see up on Disruption Network. Big shout out to EJA Moving Company. Visit them.
There it is.
EJAMovingCompany.com.
Kobe.
And thank you to all the other sponsors and everyone else. We appreciate you and everything you do for us.
Thank you, Beardless Z. Just because you.
Yeah. And Todd. I'm thanking Todd. I don't know if you'd like to anything on air, but I'm thanking him anyways.
Yeah, always. You got to thank the engineer. I'm going to call him the bookie from now on.
He can be mad. I don't care. But all right, we'll get out of here, and we'll see all of you next week. Watch some wrestling. Come back and watch us, the greatest podcast you've never heard.
Yeah.